Hello everyone. Today we learn about human reproductive system. So first is the what is reproduction? It is a biological process of producing a new individual or an offspring. This process ensures the increase in the number of individual of the species when conditions are favorable. It is one of the fundamental characteristics of the living things and an essential life process. There are two types of reproduction known as the sexual and asexual. So first is the sexual reproduction. This process of reproduction is very complex, which involves the formation and transfer of gametes, followed by the fertilization, formation of zygote, and embryogenesis. So sexual reproduction is quite complex, and then asexual mode of reproduction. So what is the asexual reproduction? This process of reproduction involves only one parent and the new offspring produced is genetically similar to the parent and known as the clone. All the human beings undergoes the sexual mode of reproduction. In this process, two parents are involved in producing a new individual. Offspring are produced by the fusion of gametes known as the sex cell from each parent, like from the male and female also. And the newly formed individual will be different from the parents both genetically and physically. Human reproduction is an example of sexual mode of reproduction. In human beings, both male and female have the different reproductive system, hence they are known as the exhibit sexual dimorphism. Male have the testes, also known as the testicles, while the female have the pair of ovaries. So both are the primary sex organ. The major function of the reproductive system is to ensure the survival of each species. Other systems in the body, such as the endocrine and the urinary system, work continuously to maintain the homeostasis for survival of the individual. An individual may live a long, healthy, and happy life without producing the offspring. But if the species is to continue, at least some individuals must reproduce the offspring or an individual. Within the context of producing the offspring, the reproductive system has some functions to produce the egg cell and sperm cell, to transport and sustain the egg and sperm cell, to nurture the developing offspring, and to produce the hormones. So these are the basic functions of our reproductive system. These functions are divided between the primary and secondary or accessory reproductive organs. So secondary reproductive organs may be known as the accessory reproductive organs. So basically we can classify all the reproductive organs into two categories. First is called primary and second is called secondary or accessory reproductive organs. The primary reproductive organs or gonads consist of the ovaries and testes. Ovaries from the female while the testes from the male. These organs are responsible for producing the egg cell and sperm cell as well as hormones also. These hormones function in the maturation of the reproductive system, development of sexual characteristics, and regulation of the normal physiology of reproductive system. All other organs, duct and glands in the reproductive system are considered secondary or accessory reproductive organ. These structures transport and sustain the gametes and nurture the developing offspring. The human reproductive system classified into two categories. First is the male reproductive system, while second is the female reproductive system. The male reproductive system is located in the pelvis region. Let's look at male reproductive system that represents the different part or organs of the male reproductive system with the label diagram. We can see in this image, which include the penis, urethra, scrotum, testicles, seminal vesicle, and vasa differentia. The reproductive organs are generally classified into the external and internal organ or genitalia. External genital organs In male are the scrotum, urethra, and penis. The remaining sex organs constitute the internal genitalia. The male reproductive system includes the testis, scrotum, spermatic duct, male accessory glands, and penis. All these organs work together to produce the sperms, the male gamete, and hormones. Penis and urethra are a part of both the reproductive as well as urinary system also. Scrotum, seminal vesicles, vasa differentia, testicles, and prostate constitute all the remaining male reproductive system. So first, what is a penis? It is a male organ for the sexual intercourse. It delivers the sperm into the vagina during the sexual intercourse. It has the three parts: the root, which attach to the wall of the abdomen, the body or shaft, and the glans, which is the cone-shaped end of the penis. We can see in this image glans penis, body, and root. The glans, which also is called as the head of the penis, is covered with a loose layer of skin known as the foreskin, and this skin may be removed in some time. Is called The process is called circumcision. The removal of foreskin is known as the circumcision. The opening of the urethra, the tube that transport the semen and urine, is at the tip of the glans penis. It also contains a number of sensitive nerve endings. The body of the penis is cylindrical in shape and consists of the three internal chambers. The chambers are made up of a special sponge-like erectile tissue. This tissue contains thousands of the large spaces that fill with the blood when the male is sexually aroused. As the penis fills with blood, it becomes rigid and erect, which allowed for the penetration during the sexual intercourse. The skin of the penis is loose and elastic to allow for changes in the penis size during erection and after the erection. Second component is the testicle or testis. A pair of oval-shaped organs masked in a pouch called scrotum. They are responsible for the production of sperm and male hormones that is called testosterone. Testes are present outside the body in a pouch that is called the scrotum. They are oval, around 4 to 5 centimeter in length and 2 to 3 centimeter width. Generally, the left testis hang slightly lower than the right testis. The testes are responsible for making the testosterone, the primary male sex hormones, and producing the sperm. Each testis contains about 250 testicular lobules or compartments. These tubules are responsible for producing the sperm through a process called spermatogenesis. Seminiferous tubules are lined by two types of cells. First is the spermatogonia or male germ cell. They undergo the spermatogenesis to produce the sperm. And second is the Sertoli cells. They provide the nutrition to the germ cell. Leading cells or interstitial cells are present outside the seminiferous tubules in the interstitial spaces. They secrete the male sex hormones or androgen like testosterone. Next, what is the scrotum? The scrotum is the loose pouch-like sac of the skin that hang behind the penis. It contains the testicles known as the testes, as well as many nerve and blood vessels also. The scrotum has a protective functions and act as the climate control system for the testes. So it's very important organ for the testes. For the normal sperm development, the testis must be at a temperature slightly cooler than the body temperature. Special muscles in the wall of scrotum allow it to contract and relax, moving the testicles closer to the body for warmth and protection or further away from the body to cool the temperature. Next is the urethra. It is a tube-like structure that connects the urinary bladder to the urinary meatus. While reproductive fluids are passing through the urethra, the sphincters contract tightly to keep urine from entering the urethra. The male urethra is divided into three regions. The prostatic urethra is the proximal portion that passes through the prostate gland. You can see in this image different type of the different region of the male urethra, like prostatic urethra, membranous, and spongy, as well as penile urethra. It receives the ejaculatory duct, which contains sperm and secretions from the seminal vesicles and numerous duct from the prostate gland. The next portion is the membranous urethra. It is a short region that passes through the pelvic floor. The longest portion is the penile urethra, and it is also known as the spongy urethra or cavernous urethra. It extends the length of the penis and open to the outside at the external urethral orifice. The ducts from the bulbourethral gland open into the penile urethra. Next is the accessory gland. The accessory glands of the male reproductive systems are including the seminal vesicles, prostate gland, and bulbourethral gland. The glands secrete the fluids that enters the urethra. The paired seminal vesicles are saccular glands posterior to the urinary bladder. Each gland has a short duct that joins with the duct's difference at the ampulla to form an ejaculatory duct, which then empties into the urethra. The fluid from the seminal vesicles is viscous and it contains the fructose, which provide an energy source for the sperm. And second is the prostaglandins. It contributes to the mobility and viability of the sperm and the proteins that cause the slight coagulation reaction in the semen after the ejaculation. So, what is semen? Semen is the seminal fluid that emitted from the male reproductive tract and that contains a sperm cell which are capable of the fertilizing the female egg. It also contains liquid that combine to form the seminal plasma, which helps keep the sperm cell viable. It is produced and originates from the seminal vesicles, which is located in the pelvis. This process And the process that result in the discharge of the semen from the urethral orifice is called ejaculation. So ejaculation is a process to discharge the semen. During the process of ejaculation, liquids from the prostate glands and seminal vesicles are added, which help dilute the concentration of sperm and provide a suitable environment for them. Fluids contributed by the seminal vesicles are approximately 60% of the total semen volume. These fluids contain fructose, amino acid, citric acid, phosphorus, potassium, and hormones known as the prostaglandins. The prostate gland contributes about 30% of the seminal fluids. The constituents of its secretion are mainly the citric acid, acid phosphate, calcium, sodium, zinc, potassium, protein splitting enzymes, and fibrolysin. A small amount of fluid is secreted by the bulbourethral and urethral glands. This is a thick, clear, and lubricating protein commonly known as the mucus. Small quantities of the potassium and magnesium presence of adequate amount of oxygen in the plasma, proper temperature, and slightly alkaline pH, that is 7 to 7.5, are very essential to sperm motility. Sulfate chemicals in the semen help prevent the sperm cell from swelling, and fructose in the main nutrient to the sperm cell. Semen quality is a measure of the ability of semen to accomplish the fertilization. Thus, it is a measure of the fertility in the male. It is the sperm in the semen that is the fertile component, and therefore semen quality involves both sperm quantity and sperm quality. The volume of semen in a single ejaculation may vary from 1.5 to 6 ml. There are usually between 50 to 150 million sperm per ml of the semen. Sperm counts below 10 to 20 million per ml usually present fertility problems. So the presence of sperm below the 10 to 20 millions per ml may lead to infertility or other problems which are related to the reproductive system or reproduction. Although only one sperm actually penetrates the fertilizes the ovum, it takes several million sperm in the ejaculation to ensure that fertilization will take place. So only one sperm is sufficient to fertilize or to form the zygote. Semen is typically translucent with the white, gray, or even yellowish tint. Blood in the semen can cause a pink or a reddish color. It is known as the hematospermia and may indicate a medical problem which should be evaluated by a doctor if the symptoms persist. After ejaculation, the latter part of the ejaculated semen coagulates immediately, forming the globules, while the earlier part of the ejaculate typically does not. After a period typically ranging from 15 to 30 minutes, prostate-specific antigen present in the semen that cause the decoagulation of the seminal coagulum. It is postulated that the initial clotting helps keep the semen in the vagina while liquefaction frees the sperm to make their journey to the ova. Actually हम लोग क्या करते हैं कि जब सीमेन हमारा यहाँ से रिलीज होता है तो आफ्टर रिलीजिंग वो कुछ टाइम के लिए क्लॉट बन जाता है, कुछ टाइम के लिए वो होल्ड होने के लिए टू होल्ड इन द वेजाइना इट विल फॉर्म अ क्लॉटिंग लाइक क्लॉट एंड आफ्टर सम टाइम वो फिर वहां से मूव करता है, देन वो फिर लिक्विफिकेशन हो जाती है उसकी. Next is the prostate. The prostate gland is formed dense structure that is located just inferior to the urinary bladder. It is about the size of walnut and encircles the urethra as it leaves the urinary bladder. Numerous short ducts from the substance of the prostate gland empty into the prostatic urethra. As you can see in this image, the secretions of the prostate are thin, milky, colored, and alkaline. They functions to enhance the motility of the sperm. The prostate has the various functions. The most important is producing the seminal fluid, that is a component of the semen. It also play a role in hormones production and helps regulate the urine flow. Prostate problems are common, especially in the older men. The most common include an inflamed prostate, an enlarged prostate, and prostate cancer. So these are the various problem which is associated with the senior citizen or old man from the prostate. Symptoms of the prostate trouble often appear as the difficulty urinating, which might include the poor bladder control or weak urine flow. The prostate is a small, soft organ On average, it is roughly the size of walnut or a ping pong ball. It weighs around 1 ounce, that is 30 gram, and is usually soft and smooth to the touch. The prostate sits deep in the pelvis between the penis and the bladder. It is possible to feel the prostate gland by placing a finger into the rectum and pressing toward the front of the body. The urethra, the tube that carries the urine and semen out from the body, passes through the prostate. Because the prostate surrounds this tube, prostate problems can affect urine flow also. This organ is one part of the male sexual or reproductive anatomy. The other parts include the penis, scrotum, and testes. The primary function of the prostate is to contribute the prostatic fluid to semen. The prostate contributes 20 to 30% fluid to the total semen volume. The remainder comes from the seminal vesicles, that is 50 to 65%, and the testicles, that is 5%. Prostatic fluid contains the components that make the semen an ideal substance for the sperm cell to live in, including the enzymes, zinc, and citric acid. One important enzyme is the prostate specific antigen, that is the PSA, which helps make the semen thinner and more fluid. The fluid in semen helps the sperm travel down the urethra and survive the journey towards egg cell, which is essential for the reproduction. The static fluid is slightly acidic, but other components of the semen make it alkaline. And this is to counteract the acidity of the vagina and protect the sperm from the damage. During the ejaculation, the prostate contracts and escorts prostatic fluid into the urethra. Here it mixes with a sperm cell and fluid from the seminal vesicles to create the semen, which the body then expels. When the prostate contracts during the ejaculation, it closes off the opening between the bladder and urethra, pushing semen through at speed. This is why in typical anatomic situations, it is impossible to urinate and ejaculate simultaneously. The prostate needs androgens, which are the male sex hormones such as the testosterone, to functions correctly. The prostate contains an enzyme called 5-alpha reductase, which converts the testosterone into the biologically active form called dihydrotestosterone, that is the DHT. This hormone is important for normal prostate development and their function. In the developing male, it is crucial for the development of secondary sex features such as the facial hair and etc. The capsules of connective tissue that contains the muscle fibers surround the prostate. This capsule make the prostate feel elastic to touch. Scientists often categorize the prostate into the four zone that surrounds the urethra like layer of an onion. The following layers make up the prostate, beginning with the outer capsule and ending the inside the prostate, including the anterior zone, peripheral zone, central zone, and transition zone. So first is the anterior zone, made up of the muscles and fibrous tissue. Medical professionals call this zone as the anterior fibromuscular zone. Second is the peripheral zone, mostly situated toward the back of the gland, and this is where most of the glandular tissue sits. Next is the central zone. This surrounds the ejaculatory duct and make up around 25% of the prostate's total mass. And next is the transition zone. This is the part of the prostate that surrounds the urethra, and it is the only portion of the prostate that continue to grow throughout the life. Next is the symptoms of the prostate problems. Prostate conditions often causes the problem with the urination or bladder control. This may include the following, like poor bladder control, including the frequent bathroom visit. Second is the urinary urgency, sometime with only a small amount of urine. Difficulty starting the urine stream, or stopping and starting the stream while urinating. A weak or thin urine stream. Prostate problems can also cause the problem with sexual functions, urinary tract infection, that is UTI, bladder stones, or in the extreme cases like kidney failure also. If a person is unable to urinate at all, they should seek medical attention immediately. A person should see their doctor if they notice any one of the following symptoms like pain while urinating or after the ejaculation, pain in the penis, scrotum, or the area between the scrotum and anus, blood in the urine, and severe discomfort in the abdomen, a weak urine stream, or dribbling at end of the urinating or maturation. The process of removal of urine is called maturation. Fever, chills, or body acne. Trouble controlling the bladder, such as stopping or delaying the urination. Inability to empty the bladder completely, and urine with an unusual odor or color. So, any one of the following symptoms uh, visible, then you have to immediately consult with your doctor or physician. Next is the bulbourethral glands. The paired bulbourethral glands, known as the Copper's gland, are small, about the size of the pea, and located near the base of the penis. A short duct from each gland enters the proximal end of the penile urethra. In response to sexual stimulation, the bulbourethral glands secrete an alkaline mucus-like fluid. This fluid neutralizes the acidity of the urine residue in the urethra. It helps to neutralize the acidity of the vagina and also provides some lubrication for the tip of the penis during the sexual intercourse. Thank you.